Hello and good night. Super Bowl Sunday.
Mm,
This is a University of Fantasy Basketball podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Dane Andre. I'm with our distinguished professor, Killanomics, and we are here to discuss week 6, week 7. We just wrapped up week 7. So we want to talk about the matchups that we missed last week in lieu of the power rankings and give you a little preview of week 8. We had something major happen on the trade market this week, Killer.
yeah, people getting spicy, man. It's right around that time where it's
Frisky
time to
time, man.
explore. Yeah,
People feeling
explore different
frisky.
options, right? Take different routes. Maybe this season isn't looking promising. Maybe investing, into some future assets.
Yeah,
And some
yeah,
people, there's no time like now, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. We're definitely going to get into the trade and our thoughts and, give out some grades. But first, let's run back and actually first let me say congrats to Tom Brady because he just won his seventh Super Bowl.
Oh,
Um,
I can't stand it, man. All these goddamn New England fans, man. You would have thought the Patriots won a goddamn Super Bowl, because it's their own, right? Like Gronkowski and Tom Brady, and it's just like, all right, guys, I get it.
you know,
But I
I,
understand.
I
I understand. I understand. I understand.
that
It's a big
you're pretty tapped in being in that area, but I was hearing that some Patriots fans were a little salty. They didn't want to see Tom win another one without the Patriots, but. Is it kind of 50-50? Is it like, or, is everyone just on the bandwagon?
Nah, those are the fake fans, man. The ones that wasn't supporting Tom Brady they wasn't the real ones. Like they probably don't even remember the first Super Bowl that Tom Brady won. Like the people that support Tom Brady was supporting the Patriots before, like Drew Bledsoe, like before Tom Brady's time. Like really diehard fans. Love Tom Brady, love Bill Belichick. You know, it's unfortunate, the route that they chose, and they're just happy for him, and they'll forever be happy for him, right? They're grateful for him bringing 6 NFL Super Bowl championships to that franchise, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Pretty
insane.
pretty amazing. A little fun fact: when back when I was a young dumb kid, watching the University of Michigan, I had an obsession with the University of Michigan, and they had this guy named Tom Brady. He was their quarterback. I thought he was the best quarterback in the draft. Turns out he was trash.
Yeah, that's wild.
And my man Charles Woodson, you know, he was up there. But big shout out to Charles Woodson, just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. And
Yo,
Tom Brady, who I thought was gonna be a first round pick. uh, you know.
yeah, man,
Anyway, man, it
football.
all worked out in the end, man. So it's all
Yeah,
good. But I'm a Giants fan, so I'm happy to see him win as long as it doesn't come against the Giants. So, uh,
yeah. Tom Brady doesn't like that NFC East, man. The NFC East, have been punching him up for a while, right? All 3 of his losses came against teams in that NFC East, man. So yeah, he doesn't
yeah,
like the cold.
yeah. I mean,
So
that's why. So, well, I mean,
well, I guess New England is pretty
yeah,
cold as
no,
well,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
but
enough football talk for right now. Let's take a look at what happened back in week 6, when we had uh, a bunch of matchups that we called, and some of them went the way we thought, and some of them, or one in particular, did not. Um, I'll let you kind of start out with your initial thoughts on our first matchup, which was my Gotham Great Danes took on the Frankfurt Flyers.
both of us picked this matchup. you know, going with the Gotham Great Danes. I mean, your team just has way more firepower than what the Frankfurt Flyers can bring. I will say, Embiid continues to play, at an MVP level. Tobias Harris, boring guy, but he continues to bring stellar stats. And look at Brogdon. Brogdon was just phenomenal. So just a bunch of superstars, performing, at a very high level. And when I say superstars, like fantasy superstars, that is. And then right, you get a player like Malik Beasley, right? Giving you 100 points, and it's just like that's just gonna be too much for any team, right? Um, but one thing that was a little bit um concerning, right? I don't get me wrong. I picked Gotham Danes to run away with this matchup, but at 7-2, I mean that's certainly troubling, right? And so you look at the other side, and the Frankfurt Flyers, man, they're just struggling with the defensive end, man. I think defense is just something they decide is optional. They're not going to play it. And that's really unfortunate because they don't have the offensive power to really just ignore defense, right? This is not the Brooklyn Nets, right? Like I don't see the big three when I look at this roster. And so they've got to figure that out and figure out a way to get enough steals or enough blocks, because it's going to be really challenging when they're playing, the top teams in this league. So
Yeah.
those are my takeaways from the matchup.
Yeah, it was a matchup that was tricky for Frankfurt. They had a few missed games from Kawhi Leonard last week, and of course they had a couple of a couple of things went wrong. What didn't go quite as right. They were a little banged up, let's just say. So we did take the matchup, and my guys did play well. So as you pointed out, it's going to be difficult to kind of beat my team when they're playing the way they did on in week 6. But Frankfurt is definitely a better team than it looks like in this matchup, and I'll look for them to bounce back in weeks ahead. So, all right, let's move on to the Amherst Speedsters and the Beantown Bombers. What did you see in this matchup?
I thought the Beantown Bombers would take another category. I thought this was, a matchup that they would be able to take away with 6-3. But it was a little bit tough, right? Given that Adams got hurt and banged up, for a game or two. Zach LaVine cooled off this week. He wasn't as good as he's been in more recent weeks. RJ Barrett was pretty solid. Lamb, was also good, but Christian Wood, he wasn't inserted into the lineup, and so I think that cut away from Beantown's potential. And so I look at the defensive numbers on Beantown, and I'm like, oh, they can do a little bit more, but I mean the team is also not at full strength, so it's really tough to understand, what it is that they're doing there. And then on the other side, Amherst Speedsters, it's just a team that's just dying to get healthy. I mean, it's becoming harder and harder each week to even understand what this team is. So, I'm gonna reserve my comments. One thing I will say is I saw this update on LaMarcus Aldridge, just one of the players on Amherst Speedsters, and it went to the effect of he's not going to be back for a while. He should be seeing a doctor sometime this week. And I said, wait a minute, he should be seeing a doctor this week. He's been out for at least a week. And you're talking about now he's going to go see a doctor? And previously, a week ago, they were saying that he was going to be out indefinitely. And
Mhm.
so I am just really puzzled about the situation. And, LaMarcus Aldridge, real life prospect and
Mhm.
his fantasy outlook. So, just a complete mess. Amherst Speedsters is just it continues to fall further and further apart.
The important thing to take notice of in this matchup, I think, was um, the young core of Murray and SGA and Michael Porter Jr. Um, they carried the load offensively, so they were able to kind of produce the points that I wasn't expecting to see. Um, but it just kind of gives you a little bit of a hint of what they're capable of. And although we both thought Beantown would have won this matchup, I could see that a stronger 3-point effort by Mikal Bridges could have easily swung this matchup to Amherst. So it was a lot closer than we thought. But again, both teams were kind of missing some of their key pieces. So not a whole lot we could really take away from this matchup. Um, let's move on to the Celtics against the Sparrows. Another real close one. One that did not um, seem to be just kind of all over the place. But the real differentiator there, I thought, was assists. And one of the guys that we would have liked to have seen a stronger performance from my perspective was Alfred Payton. Only 8 assists in this matchup. Um, and I think again another situation where if he would have came out a little bit stronger in that sense, we could be looking at this matchup going the complete opposite way. So, what'd you think of this matchup?
And I think this matchup was piss poor. But certainly Bentown had some injuries. With Devin Booker, sitting out most of the week. Luca continues to get really, really, really good. And so, as Luca gets dangerous, this team is really dangerous. And Bogdanovich finally starting to get things rolling, and
Hmm. Yeah,
Zion's percentages are getting a little bit better. So, um, things are starting to bubble in the right direction for that team.
definitely, definitely.
And then on the Sparrows team, I mean, the Sparrows, I mean, they're on the way out. So yeah, and on the Syracuse side, they've got a lot of things just going in the wrong direction, but they just don't have all the pieces. So you know, it's kind of hard to really evaluate this team. You just expect that Bentown was able to, pull out another category or two. But she had some players that unfortunately didn't play games. But
Yeah, I mean, look at
that
Luca.
just makes that team a little bit tougher.
Luca was awesome in week 6, and um, even though the Mavs can't seem to, you know, get it together, um, but like as you mentioned, Bogdanovich is stepping up, and Zion has been playing well. Middleton is having another All Star season, and Cantor. How about Cantor on the boards? I mean, he was completely dominant, and a big reason why you see such a disparity there when it comes to rebounding. I mean, only not to mention that Miles Turner is very very suspect when it comes to boards. So um, that we could have expected to see that kind of um, disparity. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I think it went the way we expected. But again, another close one. Brooklyn Phoenix, a nail biter against the NY Clinic. I mean, y- you know, you're gonna have to tell us the story about how things got so close. Because I mean, 1/100th of a point when it comes to free throws that you kind of narrowly escape by, and then just by the skin of your teeth, really, it could have easily went the other way. Ben Simmons shoots one more free throw, you know, we're looking at an upset here. So, what happened from your perspective?
Well, let's be clear. We brought out the JV team against NY tonight just because we do not respect this team as a franchise. You know, Paul George was sitting. Cat was sitting. We beat him with a bunch of people that combined to be the salary of probably one of his star players. I mean, he's just New York Knights just got a long way to go. And it was tough, right? But that's what happens when you've got mostly role players outside of Ben Simmons, playing on the Brooklyn side of things. So we
Mhm.
did what we had to do. Like I knew this was going to be a tough matchup, just given the layout of the games played, etc. And Knight finally got healthy on his side of things. And I mean, you can pour through the stats and see the great performances by some of his guys like Vooch, Ibaka,
Mhm.
Fred VanVleet. Um, Jaws still got something going on. Like he hasn't been the same since returning. But we just find a
Yeah,
way. We're not going to lose to this. We're
and
not we're not going to lose to
and
to
Ja
Luka.
and in week six, Ja only played one game too. So, um, you know, when you talk about assists and even scoring, I mean, it could have came a little bit closer. But I mean, we're all missing guys, right? Cat was not in there, and so and as you mentioned, you brought out the JV team, so um, we'll look forward to a future matchup where everyone's at full strength. Let's move on with a name change. Uh, the Chennai Dame Stops, formerly Blake Express, they've decided to upgrade their player representation and have now will now reflect their franchise player Damian Lillard. They went up against Titanes de San Juan. You and I split on this. I th- I think if I remember, I don't. I actually no, I don't remember. But it was another one that we thought it would be close, and these are two of the bottom tier teams. What did you think went on there? Because as I recall, uh, maybe you were expecting a whole lot more from as far as Dame, but and it shouldn't have been as close as it was. I'm trying to recall.
Yeah, no, I thought this was gonna be rough. I mean, these are right. These are teams which vary quite a bit. But you know, I'm gonna look at how many games the star player has, and based off of that is gonna be my assessment of who's gonna win this matchup. And
Right,
that's exactly what I think happened here, right? With Damian Lillard
right,
having
right.
such a show for the week. Gordon Hayward, he's no scrub. His numbers were pretty good. And Harrison Barnes, shout out to Harrison Barnes, which is now, fantasy relevant, in week or season like 11 or 12 or whatever season it is for him. And Oubre wasn't awful, right? So that's going to make a difference. And, your boy Draymond Green, he's putting up the counting stats, and, that's going to be very important when you're playing the Utah Jazz, on the other side of the ball. And I think
Yes,
that's really what it comes down to. I mean, come on, like the Titans of San Juan has a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. That is trash. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
yeah.
Are you kidding me? I would break up that roster tonight. Tonight. If I saw 50 assists to 45 turnovers, I'm breaking it up tonight. That is just piss poor.
Yeah, that's rough. But
PJ Washington is your leading assistant? Come on, Dave.
Yeah,
Come on, Dane.
yeah. But I believe Mitchell missed several games that week, or just played really poorly. I can't remember. I know he was out. He spent a couple of games out. Uh, so, but even still, though, there's no real true point guard on this team. Rubio is on the bench, as he should be, and they're gonna struggle in that category until they find a leading floor general. Let's move on.
Hmm.
True Grit. True Grit. We discussed this team, these both these teams heavily in the power rankings, and as you generously told True Grit, you need more people. We don't believe you. Um,
Hmm.
and Midtown, the number one team in the league, in the standings. Um, they came out and had a league leading performance, but we examined those matchups and realized that the strength of schedule was maybe a little,
A little
mm,
light. A little light.
like, um and so what what can you gather from this matchup here?
Man, true grits. Gonna have a lot of digging. It's gonna get really gritty.
Hmm.
He's gonna need his team to return at full strength. I mean, especially when Anthony Davis is not a cheat code at this current time. So if Anthony Davis is not gonna be a cheat code and be Clark Kent essentially, like it's gonna be a struggle for this team. And so until that happens, like this team is sitting right where we had them in the power rankings, right in the middle. Probably more likely to get that last spot, but they've got a while to go. And then on the other side, Midtown Money, man, they're just hustling, man. It's just an unbelievable ride. Grant is playing out of this world. The Joker, man. You just enter his numbers in. Like, come on, man. 10 threes, 123 points, 43 rebounds, only 14 turnovers. Like, come on. I mean, thank goodness he slowed down on the assists for the week. But it's like,
Yeah.
goodness gracious, come on, Joker. And he's even playing enough defense, right? He's getting you at least a steal and a block. He had 5 and 4, respectively, in the steal block categories. It's becoming unbelievable what this guy's doing, man.
Yeah, man, he's incredible when he's playing the way he's playing, and then you've got guys like Grant and DeRozan playing the way they're playing. I mean, it's hard to beat this team, and you really can't show up with Kobe Whites and Alec Burks and Dort and Baisley. It's just not gonna work. But give True Grit some credit here because they were still not that far off,
Wait,
man. Not that
wait.
far off. Four steals and six threes could have made all the difference here. And they got Valanciunas back coming up. So
Damn. Dort and Baisley in the starting lineup. Yuck. That is that is the
okay,
one of the
tell us how you feel about
definitions
Oklahoma City.
basketball. Man, Oklahoma, man, they're a team in transition, man.
Yeah, we don't want to
I just
see
don't know what's what there, right?
we don't want to see your our fantasy team resembling the lineup of Oklahoma City. We don't want to see that. All right, let's move on. King's Landing ran up against the Killers, and no surprise here.
This can't go on. King's Landon has got to do something. Has got to make a move. He's been playing 4-on 8 basketball for the last 8 weeks. It's gonna get old. He's got 4 basketball players, man. Steph Curry, LaMelo Ball. You put this type of pressure on your rookie? Come on, the Bobcats are not even doing that.
It's not
But
right, man. It's not right.
Bradley Beal Beal don't deserve this. Bradley Beal doesn't deserve what the Kings Landing is doing to him. This is just terrible. This is just terrible. I feel bad for him. And then Adebayo, like, he was just in a championship, and now he's on King's Landing. This is this is disgraceful, man.
Yeah, man. Curry is incredible. Beal's incredible, and Bam is doing his damnedest. But yeah, again, we talked about in the power rankings, man. You just can't roll out JJ Redick in a lineup and think that you're gonna have any kind of success, man. It just doesn't work that way. Not against the pretty much one of the best, if not the best team in the league. Let's move forward. Rucker Park, Rucker Park. With a tough matchup against Solid State. Um, I think we both predicted this one correctly, but it was close. It was very close, as we thought it would be. So again, one of the matchups to watch. The owner of the Rucker Park Busters is not happy about it, and especially lose a matchup this close. Um, their rebounding effort has been a lot better, but I think um, not having some of the shooters out there that they're accustomed to having, it kind of hurt them in this matchup. What were your thoughts here?
Yeah, Rucker Park is just not doing enough, in that block. Or it's not that he's not doing enough. I think they could do a little bit more in that block category, given the way that they built their roster. So, it's disappointing to not get over 20 blocks for the week. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
they've got to figure that out. The threes, yeah, they should be able to hit 33s. I mean, even with Lonzo, deciding to sit Lonzo, but maybe not. I'm looking at the names that they played that week, and yeah, they don't really have shooters that's gonna put up 33s if Lonzo's not in there. He's not in that rookie
yeah.
ball list.
And I mean, and that's typically not a guy we are relying on to hit threes for us, but he's been doing it lately. So I think with him back in the lineup, threes is going to be something they see
Well,
improvement on.
Lonzo's a guaranteed two and a half threes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's been hitting them. He's this
So
is this is coming back from his performance last year where he improved on that 3-point shot, but um, he had that dip in the bubble where he wasn't hitting anything, and he started out the season slow, but he's starting to hit that shot and hit it very consistently. So um, yeah, I expect to see 3-point shooting be something that it becomes a lot better with him in the lineup and healthy again.
amen.
All right. I think that concludes our matchups from week 6.